All right, I've got a big 49ers update for you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. First, Brock Purdy, the contract that the 49ers and Brock Purdy will reach at some point this offseason, you can expect it to make NFL history in terms of structure. I wrote about that on the San Francisco Standard. I'll get further into that as this video goes along because we're going to get into the nitty-gritty as to how the 49ers are going to allocate money against the salary cap in this contract. This is all important information, so be sure to strap in, pay attention to that, and we're, I think, going to take this to a deeper level than we have before because, yes, at some point this offseason, this contract is going to happen. The George Kittle contract is executed, and I think that it provides us some guideposts with regard to what Brock Purdy is going to sign with the 49ers. Now, other news this afternoon, the 49ers have signed a new rookie cornerback, Derrick Canteen, somebody who had 9 interceptions over the course of his college career, played at 3 different schools. Derrick Canteen was at the University of Cincinnati. He was also at Virginia Tech, and he was also at Georgia Southern, but 9 interceptions over the course of his 6 collegiate seasons. A lot of guys with very long college careers entering the NFL. Now, I think primarily that was a COVID thing, but then you add the whole NIL situation on top of that. So you see a lot of transfers and a lot of really, really long college careers. The 49ers still capped out at 90 players on their roster because they did waive a player to make room. That is the safety Quindell Johnson. Johnson had played for the Bears and the Rams before the 49ers. So San Francisco removes a safety from its 90-man roster, and they add a cornerback, and that is Derrick Canteen, who's 5'10", 193 pounds, another cornerback who's not overly tall. The physical profile of what the 49ers are looking for has indeed changed drastically over the years. It just so happens that when we talked to Robert Saleh about a week ago, that was my first question. I just wanted to know the historical progression of when did the 49ers officially move away from the Seattle-style cover 3 when they're bringing in 6'2", 6'3" cornerbacks. I mean, the prototype himself, right, was Richard Sherman, and he was 6'3". Well, the 49ers, they have gone completely to the opposite end of the pool here. And they're going for guys who are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". You know, even Diamante Lenore, who's cornerback 1 for this football team, is not the tallest guy. And it's because they're not running the Seattle-style pure cover 3 system anymore. They run a lot of zone, but I think that the 49ers have prioritized bringing dogs into the defensive backfield. And they just want as many of these hungry guys, hard hitters, run and hit cornerbacks, run and hit safeties, run and hit linebackers, as many hard-hitting, hungry, vicious guys as possible on the back end so they could all compete it out and they could figure out who's the best for this team to start to fill out the 53-man roster depth. So you've seen the drafting for the 49ers, Upton Stout. I just got back from Western Kentucky. I drove up to Bowling Green, Kentucky today, and I just drove back. I'll probably play a little video for you in a bit, but I have a lot of good content coming, and that's exactly along the lines of this signing of Derrick Canteen. 5'8", 181-pound corner. He's probably going to project as a nickel at the NFL level, but he's an absolute dog. Malik Mustafa, last year the 49ers got him out of Wake Forest, a dog at the safety position. Derrick Canteen, here they go for a 5'10", I think underrated corner, somebody with 9 interceptions over the course of his college career, went undrafted. They're going to throw another dog into the room. They're going to let these guys battle it out behind Diamante Lenore and Renardo Green because they want a hungry, vicious, physical secondary that flies to the football, is not afraid of contact, and you put that in a zone-based defense. So these guys are going to be hunting in a zone-based defense, playing downhill, put that behind a big, strong, powerful pass rush. And I say big, strong because there's going to be wingspan in this pass rush for the 49ers, right? Yesterday, we just got done talking about Alfred Collins, 7+ foot wingspan. Michael Williams has got 34-inch arms as well. That's the vision for the 49ers. 49ers with these signings, with this competition that they're building. And I mean, talk about competition. You know, the Rams, and I know the 49ers are emulating a lot of what the Rams did over the past couple years. When the Rams entered training camp in 2024, they had 36 rookies on the roster. 36. I'm not kidding. All, I think, 14 rookies, including their entire 10-person draft class, made the 53-man roster. So what the Rams did is they just cleared the way for a bunch of rookies to go out there and compete. And if you think that one of the problems for the 49ers last year was a little bit of a lack of hunger, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where Nick Bosa said that he was embarrassed with the team's performance to end the season, they finished number 29 against the run. When you finish that low against the run, it's not only a schematic issue and it's not only a personnel issue. I think it's a hunger issue. That means that you've got to renovate the defense. You got to get guys who are willing to stick their nose in there and stymie the run. So when that happens, you go for the overhaul. The Rams, in their overhaul that the 49ers are obviously copying to some extent, had 36 rookies on the team, on the 90-man roster entering training camp. The 49ers are not going to have nearly that many, but they just added one more to the count. The 49ers had 17 rookies before today. The waiver of Quindell Johnson, that's a veteran. That's a guy who was in his third year. And the addition of Derrick Canteen means the 49ers will now have 18 rookies, 11 draft picks, and 7 undrafted free agents for the 49ers. So that's what this move is all about. All right, we are moving on to talking about the Brock Purdy deadline. This has been some talk on social media. OTAs start a week from now in Santa Clara. So I'll be back in Santa Clara. We'll be watching Brock Purdy and company on the field at OTAs. And there are people saying, well, OTAs are the deadline for the 49ers to get something done with Brock Purdy. And who knows, they might get something done between now and then. But no, OTAs are not the deadline. This is the key right here. Brock Purdy is playing good faith ball with the 49ers because he is actually at the team facility for the offseason program. I can't overstate how significant that is. All the previous contract drama involved the player not being at the facility until his contract was signed, or not participating in on-field activities until the contract was signed, because Brandon Ayuk obviously did show up over the course of training camp, but was a hold in for the 49ers, so he wasn't getting the practice that he needed to get over the course of that offseason. So this Purdy situation is already fundamentally different because he's shown the maturity to go to the facility. And I think that he is in a big way showing good faith in the entire process. And if the 49ers exercise good faith in return, which I think they probably are, I think that Brock Purdy would walk away from the table, would walk away from appearing at these offseason workouts if the 49ers weren't showing good faith. If there wasn't a mutual understanding that this was moving in the right direction, then we wouldn't see the signs that we do right now. So because Purdy is playing good faith ball with the 49ers, I don't think that the deadline, is necessarily, this next week for Purdy and San Francisco. I think that we can look at this with a little bit of a softer deadline than some of the cases in years prior where the player was not in the facility for the 49ers. So with that being said, I want to establish some firmer numbers and some firmer structural expectations for Brock Purdy's new contract. As you can see here, there is a new article up on the San Francisco Standard. I'm going to put this article in the description. I think I have already actually done that, but I'm also going to put this into the comment section so you can go ahead and click and check it out. Why do I think you should check it out? Well, because this is something that uses George Kittle's recent contract with the 49ers, and I've outlined the structure of George Kittle's contract to predict what's going to happen with Brock Purdy's deal with San Francisco. And the bottom line is this: George Kittle's contract actually made NFL history. And I would expect Brock Purdy's contract to also make history when it comes to structure. How and why is that? Well, George Kittle's contract was the first in NFL history to use a total of 5 prorated bonuses to stretch the salary cap hit further into the future for the 49ers. So I have color-coded the prorated bonuses, and this right here will show you how it works. Kittle actually had a $22 million cap hit for 2025 until he signed this new deal, which is larger than his existing or pre-existing one, which offers way more guaranteed money, $35 million more fully guaranteed money. He had zero guaranteed money remaining in his old deal. So it makes Kittle the highest paid tight end, gives him a ton of new guaranteed money, yet it lowered his cap hit from $22 million to $14 million. How did it do that? Well, it's because the 49ers staggered the payments onto the salary cap into the future. And you could do that because anything that is a signing bonus or an option bonus can be stretched out for up to 5 years, even past the length of the contract when it comes to how long the player is under contract for. You create what we call void years. So every single color-coded column here is either a signing bonus or an option bonus. And as you can see, the base salary for George Kittle is in this column. It is constantly throughout the life of the entire contract. The base salaries for George Kittle are the NFL minimum. So the 49ers, for the first time ever, have given out a deal that is 5 years long, in which every single season has a base salary of the league minimum. And the minimum raises every year due to the collective bargaining agreement. But for Kittle, 1.255, 1.5, 1.65, and 1.75 all the way through 2029. So instead of Kittle getting money through base salary, he's going to get the money at the start of each season or divvied up in creative ways. And I know the signing bonus could even be divvied up in 2 or 3 parts, but he's going to get the money via bonus. And what that does for the 49ers is it allows them to take the actual size of the bonus, divide it by 5. So you could see here in the green, 2.2 times 5 is going to equal the sign of the bonus. And you stretch it out like an accordion. You stretch it out like an accordion over those 5 years. With each successive season, a new bonus hits and is stretched out 5 years into the future. So by the end of this, even though these aren't guaranteed bonuses, basically only the first 2, only the blue and the green over here are guaranteed. But as each year hits, if George Kittle is still playing at the Hall of Fame level that we see him playing out right now, the 49ers will stretch the money that they pay him in that year over 5 years to keep his salary cap hits low. So as you can see here, George Kittle's contract is worth over $19 million per year, $19.1 million per year. Yet the 49ers do not hit a salary cap hit of that amount until 2029. So this is how they work the salary cap. This is how they stay under the rising limit. I call it surfing the wave of the rising salary cap. And the reason that I show you George Kittle's contract and I point out that this is the first time that this has ever been done in NFL history is because I think they're going to do the same exact thing with Brock Purdy's contract. I have already projected Purdy's contract. This was several months ago. I've shown you how this might work from a multiple bonus structure. The fact they've now gone to 5 bonuses for George Kittle's contract and not a single year of salary above the veteran minimum in the base column shows you everything that you need to know about what this Purdy structure is going to look like. They will be able to fit it into their salary cap picture. And now it's just a matter of finding the details of, I think, how many years are going to be guaranteed for Brock Purdy, maybe how many years period are on this contract, because, you know, it's a little bit counterintuitive, especially for people who just follow this on a peripheral level and also follow NBA contracts, NFL contracts on a peripheral level. In MLB, if a superstar signs for 10 years, those years are guaranteed. Like every one of those 10 years is guaranteed. So that player is under contract with the team for that long, but they're also guaranteed money for that long. In the NFL, that's not the case. Even when Patrick Mahomes signed his, record-shattering 10-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, there are only a couple years at the start of guaranteed money in that contract. So a very long deal is heavily favorable to the team in the NFL because the money is not guaranteed for most of the years of that very long deal, yet the team has contractual control. So if we're just looking at this from a simple perspective, Brock Purdy would actually want a shorter deal. The 49ers would want a longer deal, assuming that that longer deal is not loaded with guarantees past year 2. Nick Bosa's deal was revolutionary for the defensive side of the football because it was a long contract extension, right? It kept him under contract, I think, for 6 more years on top of, including the year that was already existing. And he was able to essentially get 3 of those 6 years to be guaranteed. Typically, and this is what Kittle's deal is, only 2 years are guaranteed. The going rate for a superstar player in the NFL outside of the quarterback position, outside of Nick Bosa, but typically we have seen 5 years on these deals with the first 2 being guaranteed, which means for George Kittle, the blue and the green right here, that is guaranteed. Those first 2 years, it adds up to about $35 million fully guaranteed over the first 2 seasons. But then the rest of it happens on a rolling basis. He's got to earn that in moving from 2026 to 2027, from 27 to 28, 28 to 29. The 49ers can walk away from the deal without owing the money in yellow, in red, and in teal. So the Bosa negotiation was such a big one and such a prolonged one because they were, and Bosa's camp ended up getting it. They wanted that 3rd year of fully guaranteed money. We've seen it happen more often now with quarterbacks, to where the signing bonus is so big that the 3rd year essentially is fully guaranteed, if you want to run those calculations in your head. And I do wonder where the Brock Purdy deal is going to end up in terms of guarantees. So we know what the structure is going to be. I mean, we have a brain. We can look at contracts that have already happened. And, as the rest of the media just argues brainlessly about 50 million, 52 million, 53 million, we actually are going to bring some substance to the discussion. We'll bring contract structure. This is what it's probably going to look like. I'll put it on the screen one more time for you guys, because the numbers that the national media is presenting to you, even the local media, which doesn't know what they're talking about a lot of the time, the numbers that they're presenting to you just are surface level numbers that don't actually mean anything. Like, we could talk all we want about 53, 54, 55, even up past 60 million. And that's going to be great for the vanity portion of this deal. That might be great for the agent here in this situation. It might be great for the 49ers negotiators who want to feel like they won something. But ultimately, what's going to matter from a football standpoint is, how does this contract fit under the salary cap? How can they pay out money and pay out guaranteed money, yet keep the cap hits manageable so they can continue building the team around Brock Purdy? And that's what I get into in depth up on the San Francisco Standard in the article, which is in the description. So why don't you go ahead and check it out? It is right there. It's also going to be in the comment section of this article as soon as I'm done. I'm going to pin it up in the comment section, and you can check it up. Check it out. You should absolutely be checking out the San Francisco Standard, because this is about Kittle's contract. This is about Purdy's contract. And this is about all the rookie contracts as well, which the 49ers are currently dealing out. This is one thing that you should be aware of right now. And I've seen a lot of this on the internet. There are many people who are going out there and they are guessing regarding this Brock Purdy contract with very poorly veiled guesses, but they're simply guessing just so they can take credit later in case Brock Purdy does sign. So it's like, oh, Brock Purdy's going to sign by Monday. So if, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? Well, kind of thing. Had Brock Purdy actually signed on Monday, people saying that he was going to sign soon would turn around and say, oh, look, Brock Purdy, he signed. I was right. I have sources. It's like, no, you don't have sources. You don't know what you're talking about. Brock Purdy didn't sign on Monday. So that was all wrong. And credibility is out the window. I'm seeing this in multiple different forms. A lot of people saying, yeah, I feel a signing is going to happen soon. Yeah, this, and that. When they don't have any inside information whatsoever. They're just guessing, hoping that one of the guesses might be right. One of 20 guesses might be right. So they can point at it and say, I told you so. But what they don't expect is for people to hold them accountable when the guesses aren't right. They think that people are just going to forget. And this is a problem with media these days. Media is just guessing. So no guesswork allowed here. We're simply talking about the nuts and bolts of the contract. And there you have it for Brock Purdy and the 49ers up on the San Francisco Standard. This show is brought to you by Huel. If you're constantly on the move or just tired of skipping meals, Huel has you covered. They're today's sponsors, spelled Huel, and their Black Edition ready to drink is a total game changer. It's a complete meal in one bottle with 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, high fiber and low sugar, so you feel full, focused, and ready for your day. No prep, no cleanup, just grab and go. Huel's already sold over 500 meals around the world, and now it's your turn to try it. New customers get 15% off, plus a free gift at Huel.com when you use my code Lombardi. Don't miss out. Try it today. That's 15% plus a free gift for new customers using my exclusive code Lombardi at Huel.com. Please see our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition bottled. Boom. Huel, check them out. So, 49ers sign a new cornerback. They're going heavy on the youth movement, maybe not as heavy as the Rams last year. That is the cornerback Derrick Canteen. The Brock Purdy contract discussions continue, but he is playing good faith ball with the 49ers, so I think we can see him out there. Even if there is not a new contract agreed to by next week, I think that we should see Brock Purdy out there. Now, we'll see how intense the 49ers 11-on-11 drills end up being next week. That obviously is all worth paying attention to because the rookie minicamp, at least that began in the first week, was not intense at all. They didn't do anything 11-on-11. And if I remember correctly, it took the 49ers a little while to get into more serious 11-on-11 activity last year. So that was during OTAs. So they're obviously going to play this cautiously for the health of everybody involved. Nobody puts on pads during OTAs. This is not contact stuff. So depending on what level of risk there is too, there's also going to be that balance. If they're just at walkthrough speed, then of course Brock Purdy can continue to participate. Because if he believes that both sides are operating in good faith, moving toward a deal, then the only reason to not be on the field is to avoid the injury risk. And if the 49ers are just running at walkthrough speed, then there really is just a negligible injury risk. So I promised you, I just got back from assignment today. And since I was on assignment, and this has to do with what we're expecting tomorrow, why don't we let it rip? 49ers update from beautiful downtown Bowling Green, Kentucky. Why, you might ask? Well, because one of the newest 49ers, Upton Stout, went to college here at Western Kentucky University, and I'm on assignment getting the background story on Upton Stout. It's a good one. Stay tuned. I've got some exclusive footage that they gave me at WKU, the home of the Hilltoppers. But first, we got to talk about the 49ers schedule, which is going to come out on Wednesday. First off, the 49ers will not have an international game, very unlike the Vikings, who are playing back-to-back international games, one in Dublin, one in London. That's the first time that's ever happened. I get the feeling the NFL is experimenting, seeing how a team will do in 2 weeks overseas, because I think the NFL ultimately wants to put a division in Europe. Once they can have 4 teams over there, they can have a little pod, and those teams can obviously play teams that are based on the North American continent who are going to stay over in Europe. I think that's probably still at least a few years away, but we're getting closer and closer to it with the Vikings headed to Dublin, Ireland, and then obviously London in the UK. But the 49ers, they've actually got the easiest schedule in football this year by the numbers. And we already know the opponents. Now, we don't know how easy the travel for San Francisco is going to be, but when the schedule does drop on Wednesday, I can just recap the opponents. Obviously, all of the divisional teams. Then they have the Atlanta Falcons at home. They've got the Carolina Panthers at home. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be coming to Levi's Stadium. So will the Tennessee Titans and Caleb Williams' Chicago Bears. The 49ers road trips will be to the NFC West cities, plus to Cleveland, to Houston, to Indianapolis to face the Colts, to to New Orleans to face the Saints. That's probably the most fun road trip when you talk about the social scene outside the football game. Well, maybe not. New Orleans, New York. They're also going to New York to play the Giants. Now, technically, New Jersey, but we're not staying in New Jersey. We're going to be staying in Manhattan. What do you prefer, New Orleans or New York? Because they're headed to play the Giants at MetLife Stadium, and then also Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. So those are the opponents by record, by combined winning percentage in 2024. It is the easiest schedule in the league. The 49ers have just over 28,000 travel miles, 28,363 to be exact. That is the fifth most in the NFL. It's an improvement from last year when they had the second most travel miles in the NFL, behind only the Seattle Seahawks. But the way this works is that if you're based on the West Coast, of either far west or far east coast, so northwest, southeast, Jacksonville's in the southeast, you're likely to have the most travel miles. That's why Seattle is consistently in the top three. This year, it's the Chargers with the most at 37,000 travel miles, because I think they're going down to Brazil, to South America. So that adds on quite a bit. The Rams are second with 34,800 travel miles. The Seahawks have 31,000. Jacksonville's at 29,006, and the 49ers are at 28,363. So it actually works out decently favorably for the 49ers this year when it comes to travel, because you're never going to be low on that mileage list if you're a West Coast team, and they don't have to go to Europe. They don't have to go to Mexico. They might have an international game in 2026, but now we're going to wait to see how the schedule works from an East Coast trip standpoint. Will they have back-to-back East Coast trips? Are they going to stay over outside of the Pacific time zone? Those are all the things that come out with the schedule, but we know the opponents, it's a last place schedule. Those typically are a little bit easier schedules. So the parity, the system of the NFL to emphasize and to promote parity should help the 49ers in 2025. The rest of the details are going to come out tomorrow. Anyway, I'm here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We could spin this around. We could take a little look around this town square. They have a great coffee shop here. Some of the biscuit sandwiches in Kentucky, low key, good food. Some of the best avocado toast I also had. I ate well here. Now I'm going to have to head on back down the road to Nashville. But I did have a chance to talk to Tyson Helton, who's the head coach of Western Kentucky University. And so we're going to have a big piece coming out on Upton Stout, the 49ers defensive back, third-round pick, who probably had the best post-draft reaction call that we have seen. It was awesome. His excitement was off the charts. So Upton Stout, I had to come up here to Western Kentucky, not a far drive from Nashville, to get the intel for you guys. And they supplied me with some good footage that I think that we'll play right after this. Now, a little bit about this town, Bowling Green. It's, an hour and 20 minutes north of Nashville. They got this beautiful town square. Western Kentucky University, the Hilltoppers, they're known for that. They're also known for Corvettes here. This is where all Corvettes have been manufactured in the U.S. since 1981. They also have some nice caves. I guess that's might be a national park. Supposedly worth checking out here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They're known for Corvettes, they're known for caves, and maybe they'll be known for Upton Stout, the 49ers' new DB. This is a little sneak peek at some of the footage that we got from Western Kentucky. We'll be sure to feature a lot of this when the full interview with Tyson Helton, the Western Kentucky head coach. It was phenomenal stuff. When that full interview about Upton Stout comes out, we'll feature a little bit more of this B-roll. But here's a sneak peek. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and be ready for some of this in-depth 49ers draft content. Upton Stout, this is from Western Kentucky. So this was fun today. This is from his pro day. You could just see how built Upton Stout is. Yeah, he had the 21 reps at the NFL Combine of the 225-pound bench press, which was the most out of any DB. So he's built like a tank, and he can move with about 4.5 speed. And it was really cool because you'll see when the video comes out that I made today. I was at this stadium with that clock tower in the background. They got a nice little facility up there in Bowling Green. But I think Stout, shouldn't be any worry about his readiness for the NFL level as far as physical frame goes. This guy is not going to get swallowed in the midst of traffic near the line of scrimmage. And that's obviously where he's going to be playing as the nickel back. So some really cool footage here from Western Kentucky. That is from Upton Stout's Pro Day. Any questions? This is a good 49ers update. I've been on the road today. We've gotten to talk about Brock Purdy. Obviously, you can check out the article up on the San Francisco Standard. There it is. Purdy and the 49ers continue negotiating. And this was really one that tied in the new George Kittle contract to what we can expect from Brock Purdy in San Francisco. But typically about 30 minutes in, I like to move this to the question and answer session. And that's where we are right now. So go ahead and post your questions. Do I think that Brock Purdy's contract will be incentive laden or will it be more about guaranteed money? Well, I think it's going to be both. I think that it's not going to be a Deshaun Watson contract, right? That was crazy. The Browns gave Deshaun Watson $230 million fully guaranteed, and that's the extent of the contract. Nothing incentive laden in that deal. Most NFL contracts are about the balance, and you haggle over just how much of the total amount is guaranteed, and the rest is essentially incentive laden because the player has to reach the years where a lot of the money's at. I'll give you a good example here. If you look at George Kittle's contract, which I have diagrammed, in 2029, none of the money in this horizontal line for George Kittle is guaranteed. But he's got a big option bonus of about 16 or 4 times 5. That's about $20 million coming in. So $20 million plus a base salary of $1.75 million plus other incentives on top of that. So George Kittle's got about $22.4 million coming in 2029. None of that's guaranteed, but that amount was carefully chosen and carefully crafted so that George Kittle's total average per year would hit $19.1 million. Why is that important? Because Trey McBride had the high water mark before Kittle at $19 million. So $19.1 million is obviously greater than $19 million. So you were able to inflate the APY with essentially incentives. That last year, George Kittle's incentivized to reach it because it's a lot of money. He's got $22.4 million coming his way, but the 49ers don't have to stay committed to the contract to that point, and there's no penalty if they leave the contract earlier. So you want a little bit of both in these deals. You want guaranteed money. You want incentive-based money. You don't want to go full Browns and just give out a fully guaranteed deal for no reason that the rest of the NFL did not emulate before and did not emulate after. Question from Ernie. Any further information on Gabe Davis? You guys, yesterday we had the news, obviously, in the morning, and then the national media comes in like 7 hours later. Breaking news. Gabe Davis visits the 49ers. It's like, guys, you got to give credit to Coach Yak. Coach Yak had it on Sunday. Sunday was Mother's Day, so I wasn't really paying too close of attention to 49ers news. But then when I sit down at my desk right here in the studio on Monday, I was able to confirm the news and I put it out there. We made a whole video. The tail of the tape is there. And the national media acts like that video doesn't exist. They act like Coach Yak's tweet didn't exist the day before. Then they act like they're the ones that broke the news later that afternoon when they were probably just watching this YouTube channel and then making it sound like they were the ones in the news. Anyway, it's just my little pet peeve there. I just found it a little bit funny yesterday afternoon. But Gabe Davis did visit the 49ers, confirmed by everybody, basically, by the end of yesterday. I think he's going to visit the Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers as well this week. He just failed a physical and was released by Jacksonville. So he's not healthy yet. He's coming off of the meniscus surgery. He does expect to be healthy for the start of the regular season, but I wouldn't be shocked if this was more of a drawn-out process because teams want to be sure that he is healthy before he signs them. And Gabe Davis may not even want to sign a contract until he gets a little bit better offer, and that better offer may not roll in until he is closer to full health. So expect there to be a little bit of a dance in this regard. And I think Gabe Davis is good potential insurance for the 49ers if he continues moving toward health for San Francisco. This is a guy who's caught a lot of deep passes, especially over the course of his 5 years in the NFL. Played really well with Josh Allen in big moments for the Buffalo Bills. Tore the meniscus in November last year, and that was the worst season of his career. But Davis is still only 26 years old. I will also say that Amari Cooper is also still available. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the 49ers to add another veteran wide receiver, given the fact that Demarcus Robinson and Brandon Ayuk both have availability questions at the start of the season. You look at how the depth chart shakes out, and it's just something that would fit for San Francisco. So I think they're interested in Amari Cooper. I don't know how interested Amari Cooper is in signing at this point in the offseason with anybody, because he's obviously still waiting things out. And they're obviously interested in seeing what Gabe Davis brings to the table. So at the very least, they are able to host the 26-year-old wide receiver yesterday. Hell yeah, this is a great compliment to Mike. Let's give Mike a round of applause. You've helped give David's post a look. So this is referring to Mike's thumbnails, which other channels like to copy, like straight up plagiarize, which is not ethical, but well, whatever. It's a test. I think imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So when people copy this channel ruthlessly, it is, I hope, at some level, flattering to Mike, who does a great job with the thumbnails. So everybody give Mike a round of applause. I know if you can't give the round of applause in person, maybe you can do it as a comment on the video, you know, clapping emoji. That's my round of applause for Mike. Mike taking a bow. Mike is the best thumbnail creator in the 49ers thumbnail ecosystem for sure. Maybe even the whole NFL ecosystem. I mean, he's really, really good at what he does. I don't even know what the thumbnail for this video looks like, to be honest, but I know it's good. That's how much I trust Mike. Ernie said he's noticed the plagiarism, and my friend and I were talking about it earlier this morning. That's, I mean, I guess I think Mike is going to be happy that you noticed. I wish it wouldn't be happening because it's not cool, but we just have to go on with doing our jobs, covering the 49ers. Look, Jim Everett, the Rams troll, is back. The Rams troll, who may or may not be from Visalia. He is quoting Colin Cowherd. I don't know if quoting Colin Cowherd will make you look too good. All right, let's put in some good 49ers questions. We can talk Purdy. We can talk my need for a new computer, because I think that my computer is starting to slow down. That's why it gets a little choppy at times. Margot wants you guys to know, for the record, it's not her on Amazon slowing things down. And I can verify that because she's not at home right now. I think she'll be home in like 20 minutes probably. Whenever she calls me, that means she's like 20 minutes away. So we might need a new machine to run some of this stuff, especially if we're going to move to 4K streaming. That might be a thing coming up soon. We might need some more horsepower. I'm a Mac guy. If somebody wants to donate a computer to the show, well, you could become a member. It's so funny that I think it's lagging right now as I'm saying this. Somebody wants to donate a computer to the show, you could become a member, or you could find my email address. It's on my Twitter page. It's on my X page. And you could say, hey, David, we want to donate a computer to the show, preferably a Mac, because I'm running on Macs. But yeah, I think we got to modernize some of the infrastructure. You know, I was watching the channel, like from last year, I do like these checks to see if everything is progressing in a good way. I had forgotten that we didn't have this brand new camera last year at this time. I was still recording with my phone, and it looks so much worse. So we've invested a lot into the look and the aesthetic of the channel. Mike does a great job with the thumbnails, and I think that we've taken yet another step forward with the camera. Now as we move into this world of 4K, this is still 1080 is what you stream at right now, but we can theoretically at some point start streaming in 4K. And I think that when we do that, we're going to have to make sure that our hardware is completely upgraded. Yeah, we got to get Tim Cook to be a member. Tim Cook can start donating computers to the Lombardi Lounge. But I am a Mac guy just because that's what I've always used, and that's how I cut up the video, because I edit a lot of these videos. You saw the video from Bowling Green a little bit earlier. That was all cut up on a Mac, and then I exported as 4K. We'll probably drop that video a little bit later today, and it's full 4K glory, so you guys can watch this evening. Or somebody could build me a custom build. That would be cool. All right. Any questions about the 49ers themselves? Again, we can look at the contract of George Kittle, and we could predict what Brock Purdy's structure is going to look like. Article is up on the San Francisco Standard. And we can also talk about the fact the 49ers signed a rookie today, Derrick Canteen. I know that I usually do this when the 49ers sign a player. We go to the depth chart. So why don't we do it again? You can find Derrick Canteen over here. That is the rookie cornerback. I have him at the back of the roster because you got to earn your way up. Quindell Johnson was in a safety spot right here. He's no longer there. So in the cornerback room right now, the 49ers have Upton Stout, who I collected the intel on today. They've got... Oh, they don't have Trey Brown on the team anymore. They waived Trey Brown. I have to remove him with an injury designation. So San Francisco has, and we could, might even be, we probably should move one more cornerback to the 53-man roster. But I mean, Lenore, Ronaldo Green, Upton Stout, they're going to make the team. Darrell Luter Jr., I think that he's on track to make the team right now. Saran Neal, special teams guy for San Francisco. So he'll be a backup nickel back, but I don't think that you really expect Saran Neal to see a whole lot of time on defense. Then they picked up Jacob Robinson. He's a skinnier cornerback out of BYU. I think he's going to have to spend some time in an NFL weight room. They just signed a veteran, Dallas Flowers, after letting go of what? Sorry, I did not mean to erase Trey Brown. Trey Brown is still on the football team. They let go of Trey Tomlinson. That was the mistake that I made. That is, I'm going to have to put my face on the screen to take accountability for that error. I got confused because the 49ers have so many Treys on the team, especially in the cornerback room. As you can see here, they've got Trey Brown. They had Trey Tomlinson, so Trey Tomlinson waived with the injury designation, and Trey Avery. Those are the three Treys. The Treys came in threes in a trio in that cornerback room. Trey Tomlinson is no longer with the 49ers. Dallas Flowers essentially takes his spot. But now Derrick Canteen also takes a Trey Tomlinson spot. It's another corner, another rookie corner. All the rookies are listed in green. I think that means that I need to wrap it up. I'm making mistakes I don't normally make. How embarrassing. That's what happened. That's the 49ers update. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. We'll talk to everybody very soon.